Morning everyone, welcome back to another video. My name is Jan Kilstrand. I'm a dairy farmer from Saskatchewan, Canada. This morning we're going to be putting bedding in the corrals with the New Holland wheel loader. So we're going to give the case wheel loader to our feeder. I've been plugging it in now, so it should start up a little bit nicer. I think it'll still be a little bit gnarly, but we'll see. The block heater in this loader works phenomenally. When you start it up, the engine heat, the thermostat's already quite a ways up, so that is cool. This liquid manure tanker needs to be cleaned off at some point. We're gonna wait for a nice warm day for that to happen. Not gonna try that today. Okay, we're in the New Holland loader, starting to bed. Corrals are not looking all that bad even. We bed them 2 days ago, so it's a good sign those packs are starting to freeze up a little bit instead of getting mucked into the ground. We also put some bales ready on that new corral pad just to make the travel time a bit shorter between grabbing bales and getting in the corral. Should help things along. That is the first steer pen bedded, but this is the corral with the new water bowl. I just want to see how it's freezing up, and I think it's not too bad. Like you can see this middle starts to grow and the edges, so eventually they'll meet. We haven't had like a long cold snap, it's been pretty quick, so yeah, and that water is nice and warm. So, seems to be a practical water bowl. Just parking the loader in the shop again. We just finished up with bedding. We used a total of 31 bales. So we did the corrals, the pack barn, and that reno barn, the group pen barn for the calves. Everything's bedded up now. It took us about 2.5, 3 hours probably to do them all. So that's how long it takes and how many bales it takes to bed everything. But it feels good now that they are bedded. It is now the afternoon and I'm going to be putting sand in the freestyle barn. Milking is just getting going. The cows are going up into the holding area. So the way I used to do this, I used to be on the milking shift a little more regularly. I would just work it in when I was milking and scraping the groups. But since I don't do it so often anymore, I just come in on top of someone else's shift and then I'll do the scraping for them. I'm usually a little bit quicker with scraping and then I do the sand right away after. So group 1 is literally just starting to go in now. And we'll wait till he has all the cows in the holding area and then we'll hop in the skid steer right away. And it looks like they dumped the water bowls today, conveniently. That'll add a little bit of time to my scraping before bedding. Should still be okay though. Hey ladies. Hey you. Oh yeah, definitely water bowls dumped. Hey lady. Hey lady, hey lady, come on. Let's go, mom. Today, Junior. Cheetah. Come on, ladies. Really? Alright, that's an empty group. We'll get scraping these alleys. Turn the pump on. Okay, that's a clean group. We are ready to put sand in, but I noticed while we were scraping this group clean that my right rear is soft. It's low on air. You can see she's pretty flat at the bottom there, so it's pretty annoying to have to do this when I want to put sand in, but that's bad. That's a bad recipe for taking the tire off the rim, so gotta head over to the shop first and put some air in that tire before we start driving some heavy buckets around to sand. Just over 40, like 43? we're done that first group. Did not get that many clips of putting sand in. I really gotta focus on scraping and then throwing them right away full of sand to get it done in the allotted amount of time. We got our sand room already opened up and accessible through group 1 at the back of the barn here, which is how I drive sand to group 2. Just open up the gates straight to the sand room. In the summertime, usually won't do this. I'll just open that sand room door and this door, drive around. A little bit lazy like that. But since it's cold outside, we can't leave the door open for that long. There's always a few that go crazy. The other awesome thing now about putting sand in is we're going to get so much more room in our sand room to park both skid steers. I'm going to try and just go straight in there and then we'll have acres. We'll be back to having acres in here. Oh, look at this psycho. She's just kicking all the sand out right away. That's good, she's laying down. Some cows lay down right away. Some cows eat it. Some cows just feel the need to sprint up and down the barn. I've said this quite a few times in videos. I still always get the question when I show we're putting sand in the beds, why do we use sand bedding? The reason is it's inorganic and bacteria doesn't really grow in the beds. The reason that's a good thing though, every time a cow comes into this group, she just got milked. And the milking process, takes 4 to 5 minutes or so, and then the cow is milked out. And that teat end, because she just dumped her whole udder worth of milk, it's a little bit open. And it takes, an hour to fully seal again and protect her from bacteria. One of the things that we do to prevent bacteria from getting up into that teat canal while it's still open for that hour or so is applying a post-dip disinfectant. We use iodine. But the other thing that we can do is make sure that her environment when she comes back into the barn is clean. Sand is inorganic, which means that less bacteria will grow in it. And when cows come and lay down from the parlor, it's going to have less bacteria in it. And therefore, we will have higher quality milk. Oh my goodness, girly. Yeah, I bet you got a cough after you're ramming your face in the sand. Look at this lady. Another question I'll get is, why do we do it still with a bobcat and the bucket? Why don't you have like a bobcat and a sand thrower, or a bigger sand thrower that's towed behind the tractor, or a big fat self-propelled sand thrower? Mensch, I believe, makes one. Noon makes one. There's a bunch of companies out there that make sand throwing equipment. And to be honest with you guys, the reason why we haven't gone that way yet, just expensive. That seems like a high wear and tear unit, so we've just kind of stayed away from that. We've been using the same skid steer and the same bucket, throwing sand in this barn now for 7 years, and our cost is pretty much fixed, with the exception of the parts that we put into that skid steer to keep it going. So that's why we don't have the big fancy tow behind trailer that shoots the beds full of sand, or a even fancier self-propelled unit. I'm not saying we won't get it in the future, you never know, but for now we're just going to stick with that bucket and the skid steer. is by far the most cost-effective way of getting sand in our beds. Anyway, our guy is getting ready to grab group 2, put them in the holding area, which we will be right away on scraping and then putting sand in that side as well. And that is group 2 fully bedded up. Holy man, that is a job. It's actually pretty exhausting in that skid steer, just pinning it. But that's okay. That is how much sand we took out of here in one bedding. So that made quite a bit of room. That is awesome. I would like to clean this up, grab that bucket and scrape all the loose sand back to the pile, keep things neat in here. But I am first going to bring this thing to the shop and we're gonna grease it. What happens, a bunch of sand falls over on the quick attach of the skid steer and it gets in all the moving parts. And if you don't grease it and clean the sand off of it, the thing will start breaking bolts. Nuts and bolts will go, so we're gonna service it since we just got it all covered in sand. Alright, that thing's nicely greased. Alright, that is it for today's video, guys. Including the corrals, the calf barn, the pack barn, and this freestall barn, we have bedded up about 1,250 animals today. It was a day full of bedding up, so it's a good day. Good day for cows. Anyway, that was going to be it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons down below, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.